Hello and welcome to my small hobby YouTube channel. My name is Toma and yes, these are my hands you're watching. Today we're building this rather lovely 1/72nd scale model from Tamiya of a Spitfire Mk.Vb. This is one of those warbird collection kits that Tamiya has and is a model from the early 2000s. And if you're wondering if it's easy and simple to build, well yeah, duh, that's what I'm doing it. Yes, it's very easy. It has few parts and they're lovely. So would I recommend it to a beginner? Of course I would. This model is fantastic beginner model material because it goes together easy and has few parts that will not overwhelm you when you're starting out in this hobby. So why do you ask? I'm building this very simple model. Well, awesome transitions and sound effects, huh? Well, I wanted to try some new techniques that I've been looking for doing for a while now, and I've found them in this rather lovely black book. The F.A.Q book, yeah. Anyway, this book is awesome and I've made a review of it some time ago. You can check out that up in the cards. I mainly wanted to focus on three things. I'm not Irish. Anyway, three things. Propeller, undercarriage, and general wear and tear on the camouflage, or actually just wear and tear on the aircraft. Now, I might have overdone it a little bit, but it was a good practice run for future projects, which I'm super excited about. Now, this book is rather awesome because God, I love these new transitions. Now, this book is awesome because it has really good instructions on how to achieve a certain effect. Unlike YouTube videos where you have to pause and rewind, you can just glance over a little bit to the other page and you quickly know what you have to do and how to do it. Granted, some of the effects do need a little bit more patience and practice, but it is worth it. So the general information on this Spitfire Mk.Vb is as follows. This model kit includes 3 different types of markings, 2 for tropical and 1 continental. And you can build this model with clipped wings or traditional oval wings, just like I'm doing here. If you choose to go the tropical way, you can choose to put on the Spitfire a extended fuel tank which sits below the fuselage. The other neat feature is that the propeller actually works. The other neat feature that I quite enjoy doing is mixing your own paints, just like you see on the instructions. Now, granted, if you're starting out in this hobby, you're better off just buying yourself a specific paint, so you won't have to spend this much money. But, if you have lots of colors like I do, then mixing your paint is a breeze. Notice that one of these paints is real color from AK Interactive, and that works really well with Tamiya paints because they're basically the same. The only thing that I don't really enjoy about mixing paints is cleaning the pipettes afterwards because it takes a lot of thinner to clean those suckers out. But anyway, once you've mixed up your paint, it is a good idea to mark it out just like I'm doing here so that you know that you have cockpit paint. Fantastic. One of the techniques described in the book of F.A.Q is how to use a lead pencil to make artificial shadows or make scratches on the surface. Using the base coat of Cockpit that I've mixed and a little bit of white, I'm making highlights to outline some of these features in the cockpit, just like here. These seats were wooden, so wooden brown is the obvious way to go. I didn't really need to paint it in Cockpit green, so I'm rectifying this problem now. Here I'm mixing a black and mud brown for the leather padding. Oopsie! I'm using orange-brown dry brushing technique to simulate wear and tear on the edges of the seat and apparently on the padding as well. As far as I know, instrument panels on a Spitfire are painted black, but I wanted to make this a little bit more used Spitfire, so I decided to paint the center console in a different shade, not black, in gray. But the gray that I chose was too light, so I well, just covered it with a darker gray. That's why I'm doing this again. A neat trick to simulate glass is to use still water from AK Interactive. Just put a little bit on each instrument and it will shine like it's glass. Don't get any wrong ideas about this. This is just flat varnish from Vallejo. I finished painting all the sides of the cockpit off camera because it was easier for me to do so, and I've cleaned the top edges of paint so that the glue will stick better. Now I'm just applying cement and I will merge the two fuselage halves together. To finish off the fuselage, I rough sanded it and fine sanded it and then rescribed some of the lines because they were gone. And it looks nice. Oh, the canopy. This model kit comes with 3 different canopy styles, but they're really very similar to one another, and you really can't see the difference unless you look really closely. But anyway, I didn't want to cover the interior of the cockpit because I've put so much effort into it, so I decided to make a heart-stopping surgical procedure known as cutting into the glass parts. Yes, with a very fine razor saw, well, actually photo 8 saw from Tamiya, I managed to cut it in half, the back portion from the middle portion, and then I just had to sand it smooth to get the rough edges out. Although this model kit is good and all, it is a bit saucy, and this sauciness shows right out here, which you need to fill in the gap with some pate, otherwise you will have a gap, which you don't want to have. The other thing that you need to take care of is a gap on top of the wing surfaces, right around here. Will you stop screaming at the monitor? I turned it around. I don't know what I was thinking, but don't attach the airspeed indicator right at this point. Attach it at the very end, just like the antenna on top. Otherwise, you will knock it off. And yes, I knocked it off. Oh boy, finally the good part. I primed the model using surface primer from Tamiya. Then I sprayed it with flat aluminum color from AK Interactive straight out of the bottle, no thinning, with very low pressure. It covers fantastically, and the end result is, look, it looks like an aluminum can. It looks really good. I used 3 coats of this stuff, Worn Effects. Sprayed it on the model, waited to dry, and then I applied the paint in thin layers. Thin is the key. Oh yeah, I mixed my own paint again. Anyway, thin layers is the name of the game, and don't bite me on the accuracy of the paint because I didn't really bother with the accuracy here. I just went with it. Anyway, thin layers. Note to myself, I went a little bit too heavy, and then you have to use a lot of water and a very stiff brush to actually get the stuff off and activate the Worn Effects fluid underneath. So I'll speed up this process, otherwise it's gonna take a while. The great thing that I find about this technique is if you go a little bit too overboard like here, you can easily just cover up your mistakes by airbrushing it over, and it's not going to be even noticeable. Well, anyway, this is all for part 1. Join me back next time for part 2 when we'll be finishing off this sucker. Bye for now.